5 simple rules to go from struggling to successful. There comes a moment in every person's life when he must stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking a much more powerful question. What am I going to do about it? That question can change the direction of your entire life. Because struggle does not always mean you are weak. Sometimes struggle means you have not yet discovered the right way to use your strength. Sometimes the problem is not that you lack opportunity. The problem is that you have not yet developed the habits, thoughts, discipline, and persistence required to recognize and use the opportunities already around you. Perhaps you have worked hard for years. Perhaps you have carried responsibilities that nobody saw. Perhaps you have raised a family, paid bills, built a career, started over, lost money, trusted people who disappointed you, made mistakes, experienced failure. And perhaps you have reached a point where you quietly ask yourself, is this all there is? Let me tell you something. No. Your current circumstances are not necessarily the final chapter of your life. Your past may explain where you are, but it does not have to determine where you go next. You may have struggled for 10 years, 20 years, even longer. But one decision can begin a new direction. One idea can open a door. One disciplined habit can change your financial future. One courageous action can restore your confidence. One definite purpose can give meaning to years that once seemed wasted. The difference between a person who remains trapped and a person who begins to rise is often not intelligence. It is decision. The decision to stop drifting. The decision to stop blaming. The decision to stop waiting. The decision to believe that something better can still be built. And today, I want to give you 5 simple rules. 5 rules that can become the foundation of a new chapter. They are simple. But do not mistake simple for easy. The greatest principles of success are often simple. The challenge is not understanding them. The challenge is living them. So listen carefully. Because if you apply these 5 rules with persistence, discipline, faith, and a definite purpose, you can begin moving from struggle toward success. Not overnight. Not by magic. But step by step. Day by day. Decision by decision. And the first rule begins with the most important asset you possess. Your mind. Rule 1, decide exactly what you want. The first reason many people struggle is that they have never clearly decided where they are going. They want success. But they cannot define it. They want more money. But they do not know how much. They want freedom. But they have never defined what freedom means. They want a better life. But they have no definite plan for creating it. A vague desire produces vague action. You must become definite. You must decide. What do you want? Not what your neighbor wants. Not what society says you should want. Not what impresses other people. What do you want? Perhaps you want financial independence. Perhaps you want to build a business. Perhaps you want to write a book. Perhaps you want to become healthier. Perhaps you want to retire with dignity. Perhaps you want to help your children. Perhaps you want to create something meaningful in the years ahead. Whatever it is, define it. Write it down. Give it a number if money is involved. Give it a date. Give it a reason. Because a goal without a deadline often becomes a wish. And a wish without action becomes frustration. Imagine standing at a crossroads. 5 roads stretch before you. You cannot walk all 5 at once. You must choose. That is life. Every yes to one direction is a no to another. You cannot spend 10 years chasing everything and expect to become excellent at anything. Definite purpose gives your life direction. It tells your mind what to look for. It helps you recognize opportunities. It gives you something to measure. And perhaps most importantly, it gives you a reason to continue when difficulty arrives. Because difficulty will arrive. Do not build your dream on the assumption that the road will be smooth. Build it on the assumption that you will become strong enough to travel the road. Now I want you to perform a simple exercise. Take a sheet of paper. At the top right, what do I want my life to look like 5 years from now? Then write without censoring yourself. Where do you want to live? What work do you want to be doing? What financial position do you want to create? What relationships do you want to strengthen? What kind of person do you want to become? What do you want to contribute? Then ask, why do I want this? Your reason matters. A weak reason cannot sustain strong effort. But a powerful reason can make a difficult journey worthwhile. Perhaps you want financial freedom because you want to stop worrying about bills. Perhaps you want to build a business because you want to create something that belongs to you. Perhaps you want to become healthier because you want more years with the people you love. Perhaps you want to succeed because you know you have more to give. Find the reason. Then commit. Because once your purpose becomes definite, your energy becomes focused. You stop asking, "Should I do this?" and begin asking, "How can I do this?" That is the beginning of transformation. Rule 2. Take responsibility for your life. Now we come to a difficult rule. But it may be the most liberating rule of all. Take responsibility. This does not mean everything that happened to you was your fault. It was not. Some things were outside your control. Some people treated you unfairly. Some opportunities were denied. Some circumstances were difficult. Some doors closed through no fault of your own. Life is not always fair. But responsibility is not about blaming yourself for everything. Responsibility means asking, "What can I control now?" That question returns power to you. If you blame everything outside yourself, you give away your power. If you say, "The economy is the reason. The government is the reason. My family is the reason. My employer is the reason. My past is the reason," then you may be describing genuine problems. But you are also telling yourself that your future depends entirely on forces you cannot control. That is dangerous. Instead ask, "What can I do?" Maybe you cannot control the economy. But you can control what skills you develop. Maybe you cannot control another person's behavior. But you can control your response. Maybe you cannot change the past. But you can change your habits. Maybe you cannot control every financial circumstance. But you can learn to manage your money more wisely. Maybe you cannot change your age. But you can use your experience. That last one matters. If you are between 45 and 60, you possess something extremely valuable. Experience. You have seen cycles. You have made decisions. You have watched people succeed and fail. You have learned from relationships. You have experienced disappointment. You have developed judgment. Do not waste that education. You have already paid for it. Use it. There is no rule that says your most meaningful work must happen before 40. Some of the most important chapters of a person's life begin after the years he once considered his prime. Why? Because experience changes the way you see opportunity. When you are young, you may chase everything. With experience, you begin to understand what matters. You become less impressed by appearances. You understand the difference between activity and progress. You understand that money alone does not create peace. You understand that reputation matters. Character matters. Relationships matter. Purpose matters. Use that wisdom. Do not say, "I wish I had known this 20 years ago." Say, "I know it now." That is enough. You cannot change 20 years ago. But you can use what those 20 years taught you. Your past can become a prison. Or it can become an education. Choose education. Rule 3. Develop discipline before you demand results. Many people want success. Few want the discipline required to create it. They want the harvest. But they do not want to plant. They want financial freedom. But they do not want financial discipline. They want a successful business. But they do not want to learn the business. They want confidence. But they do not want to do difficult things. They want change. But they want their habits to remain the same. That cannot work. You cannot build a new life with the same daily behavior that created the old one. Something must change. And usually, it begins with discipline. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is freedom in disguise. When you control your spending, you gain financial freedom. When you control your time, you gain productive freedom. When you control your emotions, you gain mental freedom. When you control your habits, you gain personal freedom. Discipline allows you to choose your future instead of being controlled by your impulses. Think about a person who says, "I will exercise when I feel like it." He may exercise occasionally. Now compare him with the person who says, "I exercise because I decided that my health matters." The second person does not need perfect motivation. He has a commitment. That is discipline. And discipline is built through small decisions. You do not become disciplined by making one enormous sacrifice. You become disciplined by keeping small promises repeatedly. Wake up when you said you would. Complete the task you promised yourself you would complete. Read the pages you plan to read. Save the money you decided to save. Take the walk. Make the call. Write the page. Finish the project. Say no when necessary. Every time you do what you said you would do, you strengthen your character. And something remarkable begins happening. You start trusting yourself. That trust creates confidence. Confidence creates courage. Courage creates action. Action produces results. Results strengthen belief. And belief strengthens persistence. That is a powerful cycle. Now try this exercise. For the next 30 days, choose one promise. Only one. Perhaps. I will spend 30 minutes every morning working on my most important goal. Then keep it. No matter whether you feel motivated. No matter whether someone applauds. No matter whether the result appears immediately. Keep the promise. You are not merely accomplishing a task. You are training your identity. You are teaching yourself. I am a person who keeps his word. That identity is priceless. Because once you trust yourself, you become far more willing to attempt difficult things. And difficult things are often where opportunity lives. Rule 4. Turn failure into education. There is a reason many people remain trapped in struggle. They fear failure so much that they stop taking meaningful action. They would rather remain where they are than risk discovering that their first attempt might not work. But listen carefully. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is often part of the education required for success. Every person who has built something worthwhile has encountered setbacks. The question is not, will you fail? The question is, what will you do when you fail? You can allow failure to become a verdict. Or you can make it a teacher. Suppose you start a business and it does not work. Do not merely say, I failed. Ask, what did I learn? Perhaps you chose the wrong market. Perhaps you misunderstood your customer. Perhaps your pricing was wrong. Perhaps you lacked a necessary skill. Perhaps your timing was poor. Good. Now you know more than you knew before. You are not starting from zero. You are starting from experience. This is one of the great secrets of persistence. Persistence does not mean stubbornly repeating the same mistake. Persistence means remaining loyal to your purpose while being willing to improve your method. If one door does not open, you do not sit in front of it for 20 years. You look for another entrance. You learn. You adapt. You continue. Think of the inventor working late into the night. One experiment fails. Then another. Then another. Someone watching from outside might call those failures. But the inventor may call them information. That is the difference between a defeated mind and a determined mind. The defeated mind asks, why does this always happen to me? The determined mind asks, what does this teach me? The first question creates helplessness. The second creates possibility. Train yourself to ask the second question. When something goes wrong, stop. Breathe. Write down what happened. Then ask, what was within my control? What was outside my control? What did I fail to anticipate? What will I do differently next time? This exercise turns pain into wisdom. And wisdom becomes an asset. Perhaps you lost money. Learn. Perhaps you trusted the wrong person. Learn. Perhaps you chose the wrong career. Learn. Perhaps you spent years chasing something that did not matter. Learn. But do not keep punishing yourself for being human. You cannot build tomorrow while constantly staring at yesterday. Take the lesson. Leave the shame. Move forward. Rule 5, believe, persist, and keep moving forward. The final rule is the one that brings all the others together. Believe in your ability to continue. Not necessarily that everything will happen exactly as you wish. Not that every plan will work. Not that every opportunity will succeed. Believe that you can continue learning. Continue improving. Continue adapting. Continue acting. Continue building. Continue trying. That is faith with feet. Faith is powerful. But faith without action becomes wishful thinking. If you believe you can create a better life, act like it. If you believe you can improve financially, learn. If you believe you can build something meaningful, begin. If you believe you can become healthier, change your habits. If you believe you can contribute more, find someone to serve. Your belief must eventually become behavior. And persistence is what keeps behavior alive when motivation disappears. Because motivation will disappear. Some days you will wake up tired. Some days the numbers will disappoint you. Some days your business will struggle. Some days people will criticize you. Some days you will question whether you are making progress. Those are the days when persistence matters most. Anyone can continue when the reward is immediate. The test comes when the reward is delayed. That is where character is formed. You must become comfortable with delayed results. A farmer does not plant a seed in the morning and dig it up at noon because he sees no tree. He understands seasons. He understands patience. He understands that invisible work comes before visible results. Your goals have seasons too. There may be a season of learning, a season of sacrifice, a season of building, a season of uncertainty, and eventually, perhaps, a season of reward. Do not abandon the field simply because you are currently in the planting season. Keep going. The story of the man who started again. Let me tell you about a man who believed his opportunity had passed. He was in his 50s. He had worked hard, but his career had stalled. His savings were not where he wanted them to be. His confidence had declined. He watched younger people moving forward and began comparing himself with them. One evening, he sat alone and asked, "What if my best years are behind me?" Then he asked a different question. "What if my best years are simply different from the years I imagined?" That question changed his thinking. He stopped trying to become 25 again. Instead, he asked what a 50-year-old man with decades of experience could do. He identified a skill he had developed over many years. He began studying it more deeply. He began helping others with it. Then he started offering that knowledge as a service. At first, almost nothing happened. But he persisted. He learned marketing. He improved his communication. He studied his customers. He changed his approach. He continued. Years later, he had created a second career. It was not the career he had imagined at 25. It was better suited to the person he had become. That is an important lesson. Do not spend your life trying to recover the person you used to be. Become the person your experience has prepared you to become. Your second chapter does not have to resemble your first. And sometimes the greatest success comes after you stop trying to prove something and start trying to contribute something. Your daily success routine. Now let us turn these 5 rules into a daily practice. When you wake up, ask, "What is my definite purpose?" Write your most important objective. Then ask, "What is one promise I will keep today?" Make it specific. Then spend time learning. Read. Study. Think. Then do the most important difficult task before distractions consume your attention. During the day, when something goes wrong, ask, "What can this teach me?" At night, review your progress. Then remind yourself, "I am still moving forward." That routine is simple. But practice it for a year and you will not be the same person. You will become more focused, more disciplined, more confident, more capable, more resilient. And perhaps most importantly, you will become a person who trusts himself. Stop waiting for your life to change. Perhaps you have been waiting. Waiting for the right opportunity. Waiting for more money. Waiting for confidence. Waiting for someone to believe in you. Waiting for circumstances to improve. Waiting for the fear to disappear. Stop waiting. The perfect moment is usually a myth. You begin where you are. You use what you have. You learn what you need. Then you take the next step. You may not be able to change everything today. But you can change something. And something is enough to begin. One phone call. One page. 1 hour. One decision. One conversation. One habit. One courageous action. Do not underestimate one action. A single match can light a candle. A single candle can illuminate a room. A single disciplined decision can illuminate the direction of an entire life. So make the decision. Today. Your age is not your limit. If you are 45, 50, 55, or 60, I want you to hear this clearly. Do not allow your age to become a mental prison. You are not finished. You are experienced. You have knowledge. You have perspective. You have survived things that once seemed impossible. You have learned from people. You have learned from mistakes. You have learned from success. You know what matters. Now use that wisdom. Perhaps you cannot run as fast as you did 20 years ago. But you can think more clearly. Perhaps you do not have the energy of youth. But you may possess better judgment. Perhaps you have fewer years ahead than you once imagined. Then make those years count more. You do not need another 40 years to make a difference. You need purpose. You need discipline. You need action. And you need persistence. A person can transform his financial life in several years. A person can build a new business in several years. A person can write a book in a year. A person can rebuild relationships through consistent effort. A person can develop new skills at any age. Do not measure your future by your past. Measure it by your willingness to act now. The 5 rules. Remember them. Rule 1, decide exactly what you want. Definite purpose. Know your destination. Rule 2, take responsibility for your life. Control what you can control. Stop surrendering your power to circumstances. Rule 3, develop discipline before demanding results. Keep your promises. Do the work. Build self-trust. Rule 4, turn failure into education. Learn. Adapt. Persist. Never confuse temporary defeat with permanent failure. Rule 5, believe, persist, and keep moving forward. Have faith. Take action. Continue when the road becomes difficult. These 5 rules are simple. But if you live them, they are powerful. They can change the way you think. And when your thinking changes, your behavior changes. When behavior changes, habits change. When habits change, results change. And when results change, your life changes. That is the process. Do not look for magic. Look for mastery. Your next chapter begins now. Tonight, before you go to sleep, take a sheet of paper. Write these 5 questions. What do I truly want? What am I responsible for changing? What discipline must I develop? What has failure taught me? What will I persist in building? Answer them honestly. Then choose one action. 1. Take it tomorrow. Do not announce it to everyone. Do not wait for applause. Do not require permission. Begin. Let your action speak. Let your discipline become your testimony. Let your persistence become your reputation. And let your future become the evidence that you refuse to remain where you were. Because struggle is not your identity. It is a chapter. And chapters can change. You may have struggled financially. You may have struggled emotionally. You may have struggled professionally. But struggle does not have to become your permanent address. You can move. You can grow. You can build. You can begin again. And perhaps the greatest victory will not be becoming rich. Perhaps it will be becoming the person who can create, manage, and sustain a meaningful life. A person with purpose. A person with discipline. A person with courage. A person with faith. A person who keeps his word. A person who gets knocked down and gets back up. That is success. And once you become that person, no circumstance can completely take success away from you. Because the greatest wealth you possess is not outside you. It is within you. Your mind. Your character. Your experience. Your ability to learn. Your ability to choose. Your ability to persist. So do not surrender. Do not waste another year wondering what might have been. Do not spend the rest of your life mourning the opportunities you missed. Build the opportunity that comes next. You cannot change yesterday. But you can change what yesterday means. Let it become your education. Let your failures become your teachers. Let your disappointments become your strength. Let your age become your wisdom. Let your faith become your courage. Let your purpose become your compass. And let discipline carry you forward. There is still time. There is still work. There is still opportunity. There is still something inside you that wants to rise. Listen to it. Feed it. Train it. And act on it. If this message spoke to you today, if it reminded you of the strength that still lives inside you, take a moment to support this mission of spreading wisdom and motivation. Please like this video and share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Your support helps this message reach more people who are ready to change their lives. And if someone you love is struggling right now, send this message to them. Perhaps they do not need another person telling them what they cannot do. Perhaps they need someone reminding them that they can still begin. And perhaps that reminder is for you. You are not finished. You are not too old. You are not permanently defined by your mistakes. You are not required to know every step before taking the first one. You only need enough courage for the next step. Take it. Then take another. And another. Until the road that once seemed impossible becomes the road you have already traveled. Remember these 5 rules. Know what you want. Take responsibility. Develop discipline. Learn from failure. Believe and persist. Live them. Not for one day. Not for 1 week. But until they become part of who you are. Because extraordinary success is rarely created by extraordinary circumstances. It is created by ordinary people who make extraordinary decisions consistently. Your next chapter is waiting. Write it with purpose. Write it with courage. Write it with faith. Write it with persistence. And above all, write it yourself. Please like and share this message.